Sit back, relax. Try to maintain your composure. You are about to become connected.
Hello, welcome to the Connect podcast. We're in episode 32. It's been a lovely day, sun's shining, clouds have parted, no chemtrails, everything's gone quite well today, I think. We've got a guest on today, Shane. Shane's actually come back for a reappearance. It was in one of our last ones.
Just recently, wasn't it number 30?
Yeah, number 30. We've got some topics that need to be talked about.
Out of the way. Done and dusted?
Done and dusted. Well, this topic will never be done and dusted. Because it's prevalent. But we're talking today about drugs, legal, illegal, any sort of drug-related paraphernalia.
Are you sitting far away because your voice is so loud?
Yeah, my voice is loud. I need to sit at the table. I can't sit at the table. And plus the computer's open. We need facts and figures for this sort of talk. We can't really talk about this stuff. It's all hypothetical and up in the air and just crap.
Well,
like when you discuss this sort of stuff without, well, especially to an audience, when you discuss this sort of stuff without a factual backing.
Well, we've got empirical evidence, our own experiences. That's pretty damn good. And also, I think that with drugs, a lot of the facts and stats aren't really reliable because people aren't exactly going to be honest about an illegal substance.
No, that's true, but
you can also make statistics go either way too.
I don't understand. Like, I mean, I'm not too on the line with that because, like, fucking, if you're taking a survey anonymously and no one knows who you are or who said whatever, which is usually the way the survey's done, then why would you lie? There's no point to lie. You know?
Well, that's you, though. I agree with you. That's how I would behave. But I think a lot of people would be down.
But, I mean, I think it is important to there's a lot of grey area with drugs. Like, this is the whole reason why we would even do a podcast on this topic, because there's quite a few people sort of like, as soon as you bring up the drug topic, whether they have taken them or haven't taken them, they regularly take them or they don't regularly take them, they stigmatise it straight away. They put it in this category of, you know, bad members, which is the case. There are quite a few, you know, drugs do create a lot of social issues, which are usually related to the abuse of drugs, not the recreational use of drugs and that sort of thing. And so a lot of people have horror stories from drugs, but then again, a lot of people have horror stories from driving a car as well.
And eating a lot of Maccas and
eating
stuff.
a lot of food and fucking.
So the reason people are so anti-drugs automatically is because it's against the law, and they think that the law is the be-all and end-all of morals and what's right and wrong, and that's the problem. I mean, like, what was it? Like 1 year, it was like before the year of Prohibition, it was legal to own gold and... No, in the year of Prohibition, it was illegal to own gold and illegal to drink alcohol. The year they changed Prohibition, this is in America, it was illegal to own gold and legal to drink alcohol. Like, I mean, obviously...
What's the significance of that?
It's just... I'm just saying that how is the law telling us at all what's right and wrong? Yep. That's what I find so annoying about that. People don't make up their own opinions about drugs, especially people who have never taken them.
They are more...
They just go...
People don't make up their own...
Yeah, less socially acceptable. Like, if you met someone out and, like, they didn't do drugs at all, like, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, well, I smoke weed or I'm on pills or something, then they'll judge you straight away. They might want to know you, or they're just going to judge you straight away. Like,
yeah, definitely.
But now it's a bit more open these days.
Only because, more people are doing it, I guess. It's becoming more mainstream.
Yeah. But I know, like, if I met someone and they're like, oh, yeah, I got on GHB on the weekend, I'd look at them and I'd be like, you're a fuckhead.
But, I mean, until GHB comes mainstream. So the thing is, either people take their opinions from what the law says or what's mainstream. It's like people can't think for themselves.
Yeah. But that's the same as fucking religion. That's the same as everything. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, we're born into a society of beliefs, and you know, depending on how liberal or conservative your parents are, then you know you're going to be structured in a particular way, and a lot of people like don't have the mental faculties or tools to be able to pull themselves out of outdated and troublesome beliefs like in their life. Like a lot of people, you know, even though you could rattle off fucking 100,000 facts to them, they're still like, nah, I don't care.
The only reason
fucking Labor's shit, and I'm gonna fucking vote Liberal. They're nothing but bad, and all this sort of shit. And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It takes
like,
a lot of mental effort to do that, and I think people will only really go down that road if they see that what they're doing is harming their self-interest or changing their perspective, and growing out of that would be a benefit to them. And I think some people are so deeply entrenched in that they can't see how deeply entrenched that they are. You know?
They want to take the safe road as well. A lot of people.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of people. It's just a lot easier. It's easier to go the safe road than go the.
They will only go to that massive effort if they can
Yeah.
see that it's really worthwhile. And most of the time, it's not for them.
If they can't see the end, what's going to
Yeah.
turn out like? Well, then a lot of people get scared.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about before. It's so easy to call bullshit on everything rather than actually trying to be the pioneer or the unique person to go, hold on, maybe this is not the case. Maybe just because I've been told this, I can think for myself and I can do it this way. Nah, bullshit. You fucking don't know what you're talking about. I've been told this,
Definitely.
and then and you're like, well, and that's like a perfect example to the way that you know, I particularly see the mentality of people who are willing to call you out for using drugs and call you out negatively, because some people who don't do drugs, they're like, oh, fuck, live your life, and that's really the way the world should be. I don't do it, but as long as you don't harm me or anyone I know, or really anyone, then fucking do whatever
But if you
need
do
to
harm someone, you're obliged by the law of violence and murder and that. So, like, what the fuck's the difference?
Yeah, I know, but like, I mean,
People who haven't done drugs who have done massacres and stuff. So
yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Crazy, you know.
And if I'm on
They
drugs,
probably needed drugs.
whether or not I'm on drugs or not, if I hurt someone, I expect the law to come down on me. You know, either way, it doesn't matter if I'm on drugs.
That's where I'm 100%.
You know?
That's why I'm 100% sort of like, you know, if you go out there with the intent to harm anyone, you know, from any sort of situation that involves you under the influence of a substance such as alcohol is a perfect example, because that's the one that is causing the most problems in our society. At least if you maybe smoke a joint, you have like a 0.0 recurring 1% chance of getting psychosis or something. At least you're only harming yourself. You know what I mean? Or like, if you go and fucking take a pill or something bad happens, you come close to overdosing or something, you only harm yourself. I know, obviously, you know, you go and get drunk, I can guarantee you eventually at one point of your life, if you're any sort of, you know, red-blooded alpha male, you are going to bash someone quite severely. Like, I mean, that's actually, oh, look, you know, this is my you know, this is my experience from managing nightclubs and bars and clubs for the past 10 years of my life. You know, people go out to fucking fight and to argue and to hit girls and to, you know, and like, you know, 9 times out of 10 times out of 10, I would rather work in a club where people are taking illegal drugs such as ecstasy, speed, that sort of thing, then work at a Irish pub.
Definitely, yeah.
100 times. Well, when I worked in the Brisbane city, if anyone knows anything about Brisbane city, you got the city, which is predominantly drinking, and you got the valley, which is predominantly drug taking. They're right next to each other. They're suburbs across from each other. Manage large 2,000 person venues in Brisbane city, and also 2,000 person venues in the valley, and the amount of times I would have to call the police in the city to the amount of times I have to call the police, the amount of times I have to send, the amount of times that I have to send my security guards home in ambulances in the city from a drinking crowd. Like, I don't even think, not in the whole time I worked at the Valley, I had to send a security guard home in an ambulance. Not one time. Not in like 3 or 4 years, not one time. But in Brisbane, I had to send one away every couple of weeks because people fight.
Yeah, so
quite simply, people fight on alcohol. People don't fight on MDMA.
And not only
People die from overdoses.
People die from overdoses, but they're not hurting anyone else. They're hurting themselves while they're hurting their family. And
so where they got to get a lot of people, you can get one bad pill, you're dead. So
but
you don't know what you're taking.
Of course,
Fuck,
the
I've had
risk
about
factor in
1,000 pills
drugs.
in my life, and I'm still
The
not
risk
there.
factor in drugs is massive, and mainly because they're illegal.
Maybe
If they were
because they're
legal,
illegal.
there would be none of that bullshit.
Well, that's why you got to have these massive problems now with these synthetic drugs and these mock drugs because dealers and producers of amphetamines products and anything like that, they can't get the quality goods that they need in to make the right product. So they have to get all this shit sent from all these different parts of the world, which make up a mock MDMA substance, which kills people eventually. But still, at the end of the day, the market's there. People are always going to buy, no matter what they're getting. That want to get fucked up. It's going to have to happen. It's going to happen. So, I mean, let's prioritise.
Let's try and do it safely. Let's just acknowledge that it's a massive part of society. What frustrates me the most about the whole drug thing is just it's so inconsistent. Like, if you're going to have laws about substances that people take, be consistent and logical and use evidence as the reasons why you're making certain laws about things. It's completely inconsistent with how alcohol and tobacco are legal, and they're like, alcohol is like the second, is it the second? I think the third after heroin and cocaine, most dangerous to your health. So like, it's just, and then all the rest are illegal. It makes no sense. That's obviously illogical. So it's wrong. Just based on that, it's wrong. The law's wrong. Yeah. Incorrect.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sort of comes down a fair bit to what makes the economic system tick, and that's a really big part of it. What makes society tick when society, in terms of how countries run, and in terms of how a police force is managed, and in terms of how governments run, is the GDP and the fact of people in jobs and people working hard to support the system. All right, so alcohol has a short amount of time that it stays in your body, and you experience the effects of it from it. It gives, boosts your ego, makes you like really, sort of happy for a short amount of time. You get all, the system out. Like, and let's be serious. Like, we don't have a lot of time. Time's not what we got. Now, if anyone has done any sort of chemical drugs or, anything like that shit stays in your system for a long time. There's more chance of you not going to work when you're supposed to. There's going to be more chance
hangovers are pretty bad though from alcohol. Like, I don't know about
that.
Oh,
no, definitely. But once again, we're not talking like you stay up for 2 days, 3 days on some sort of chemical substance, and then you take a week to recover.
Yeah, but you're talking about extreme drug taking.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think that's extreme drug taking.
It's pretty extreme, yeah. A lot of people would just do like one sort of...
One pill and they'd go home at 2 p.m. and 2 a.m. and they'd sleep.
Yeah.
Sometimes someone will drop another one, but they'll still go home at 6 or 7.
Yeah, and they'll go to bed. I think that's...
They know they got work on Monday, yeah?
And like when I was, and that's what would happen when drugs are legal and people are sensible and they know why they're doing it, and they're
a bit more controlled.
Yeah, they're controlled. Because that was what it was like in Amsterdam. The clubs closed at 5 a.m. People would take drugs, definitely, but they would take just a few pills, and then they'd go home when the club closed, and they'd go to bed.
There's also more incentive. So, like in Melbourne, there's clubs open 24/7 everywhere now. So, if the club's closed, well, there's another club right around the corner you can go to, and everyone's just as smashed as you. So you're just going to go there, and
that
clubs
feeling
open
of
all day,
never wanting the night to end in Melbourne, that doesn't have to end.
It doesn't have to. You can keep it going for ages, and it's like everyone there is there for the same reason. They're all fucked up.
I just don't want to go home.
So it can be a bit of a bad incentive, that. Yeah. That fact, that being there, but
why? Well, I think when we're talking about why such inconsistency in the laws, well, let's look at the history of like the law around drugs. So, obviously alcohol's been legal for forever, apart from that little prohibition period in America. Yeah. What about all the other drugs? Like, you've got like acid and LSD, acid and speed and all that sort of stuff being invented in the 20th century, right? Is that right?
Yeah, LSD.
Yeah, and so I think let's think about when all these drugs came into society. How was the reaction and why was it like that? So let's say with LSD, I think the reaction we know that the government, used that for their own benefit in certain like military operations and investigations into the mind and how they could use LSD to whatever for their own purposes.
Sort of amphetamines, like speed and that sort of thing. They still use it today. I mean, there was
we know that they all use it. But so, what was their reaction to it becoming mainstream? Because they're okay with alcohol being mainstream. Obviously, they're fine with that. But for some reason, they're not fine with the rest being mainstream. So I think acid, perhaps.
Well,
it's not to do with health because that's bullshit. We know they don't give a fuck about our health. It's not about that.
It's not about
I think the fact that psychedelics a lot came from like the 60s when
the movements.
Everyone, it was just there's the biggest cult of people doing psychedelics in the world.
And it was coincided with the hippie movement of we don't want much government, we don't want to work so much, corporations, all that sort of stuff.
That's what I mean.
They can't have people thinking like that.
To do with when all these drugs came out, there was just a massive labour movement around about that time, especially in America, and a massive union movement, like we want more out of our job, we want to work less, we want to do this and that, and that fundamentally has something to do with why these drugs are banned. Not necessarily that movement in particular, but the effect that these particular drugs such as psychedelics, mushrooms, LSD, ketamine, all these sort of things, what they do to your brain, and what the questions that they make you ask yourself. Even marijuana is very similar to that. I think last time on the podcast, I was like, I'm going to get massive at the gym and I'm going to get a photo shoot done. The other night, like a night after that, and like I thought that was good because like I was like, I
get
honestly think, cool, I'm going to have something to look back at, and then
you can just let it go.
Look at my body, and I can stop going to the gym so much, and I can just be normal. But instead, and then that night or the night after, I smoked some weed. That idea went straight out the window. I smoked some weed, and then I was like thinking to myself, and I was like, "Are you fucking crazy? I mean, how vain are you? Why do you want to take a picture of your shirt off? Like you're a fucking loser." And like I'm just like spent all night just like
chastising yourself,
killing myself, like going, "You fucking idiot!" And now and then I woke up the next day and I'm like, actually, the weed was right. But like, I mean, either way, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying that these drugs give you a different insight. They break your ego down. They break which is what the capitalist system loves. The capitalist system loves a good ego. That's what it thrives on. Someone going,
competition,
I'm going to
individualism,
fucking take
identity.
your job. I'm going to do your fucking work. I'm going to work harder and get this. But it breaks it down, and then it makes you start going, well, hold on, why am I at work so much? And why should I might be spending more time with my family? This is fucking silly. Like, are we actually here just to work? Like, is that what we're here to do? And like, it really, it really throws the whole money game out the window. And that's what I fundamentally believe is wrong.
I believe that's why they do it. I really think, because it's definitely not about health. We know that because alcohol's legal. So that's obviously not it.
And tobacco.
And it's not about like, and tobacco, exactly. Yeah. I mean, they don't care about our health. That's crap.
No.
Anyway. But what I don't understand, what I want to look into more is when...
They do care about our health, but if they did necessarily in the concept of drugs, then they would decriminalise or legalise the drugs, and then they would keep tabs on who's the addict.
Yeah, exactly.
Not give the money to the black market, not allow the money go to the black market.
So then I'm interested also in when, over time, which as drugs became known, which, how were they made illegal? So you've got, okay, cool, so when acid came in, it was like, all right, illegal, and then they discovered things like ayahuasca as it came out of the thing, and then they automatically class 1 drug, so I find that amazing that now that they've got this law about substances, they can just chuck anything in there now and go drug, they just point their fingers at anything out there that alters the mind.
With bath salts, there's 100 different kinds of bath salts. I don't know if you know much about them, but
no, I don't know
they
about
started.
bath salts.
It's like an illegal drug you pretty much buy in the shop. A legal drug that you can buy in the shop pretty much, and then you can smoke it or whatever. It's like legal weed. Have you heard of legal weed? So they sell it as an incense. It's like they sell it as like an incense, and you can smoke it. It's similar to that. You can buy stuff similar to cocaine. Yeah. It's just what it is. It's just a heap of chemicals put together, and they'll call it a name, and they'll say that it's a purpose that's not for smoking or doing it as a drug. Yeah. But they'll sell it, say, as an incense. Incense or something. But people just know that you can get fucked up on it. Yeah. So these bath salts is them coming out with all these different ones of legal chemicals that you can use. They get people fucked up. And as they make each chemical illegal, a new one comes out. So like if like last year there was this really massive like legal weed thing, and it was everywhere.
It chronic? Is that what it is?
I think it was it's like chronic, but it was a different. It had a name, it had a brand name, and they made like one of the main ingredients illegal for it. But like a month later, this new one came out, just blasted everywhere. And the thing is, with these legal ones, you know, younger kids, they're like, oh, you know, smoke this stuff I heard, fucking get high, and like it's worth like triple the price of buying actual illegal drugs, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
and it's worth triple the price, and like I mean, it's
and
just
like, people doing it's
dirty.
It's worse like, for you too.
This is what I'm saying. Like I mean, I think I would like to think that there is some foresight in their law enforcement community, and they are coming to the conclusion, or they've come to the conclusion that people inherently like to experience reality in a different form sometimes. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the best way I can say it, like, without going, people just want to take drugs. You know what I mean? They like to alter their consciousness or reality at some points of their each month, and they like to have a laugh with friends. They don't do it and sit in a dark room and then plot to kill people. Like 99.9% of people take it to enjoy their life more. Now, I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't know. Look, thanks. Look, I would like to thank all those people out there who have made alcohol legal. I love alcohol. I love going out and having a chat with mates on alcohol. But you know what? I also like to take other substances and do the same thing. And they actually make me enjoy my life a bit more than alcohol. That's why alcohol only works sometimes and the other stuff works other times. Now, I think if I was to have to make a judgment call on it, it would be best if there was a professional person in a professional laboratory making this stuff, so that other people would not have to experience bad, like, floor cleaning products in it and all that sort of thing. And then you know what? Then the government can fucking tax it and make money and build more fucking schools and build drug education programs and build all this stuff.
They're just going about it the whole wrong way. It's so bizarre. Like, whatever they're doing, it's making it worse. Like, if you have a goal of trying to get people to stop taking drugs, or if you believe they're bad, then you don't make them illegal. You know, you educate people, or like they're not doing anything at all.
As we see in in Amsterdam and like California and stuff, in America and Colorado and stuff now, as they've legalized the drug, as like marijuana, it's a lot more controlled. You can go and you can say, all right, I want something that will make me feel like this. They know exactly what they can give you. Or you can say, I want something that's not going to get me really smashed, and they know what to give you. Or you can go and say, I want to get so fucked up tonight, give me some real strong weed.
There would be no overdoses.
Okay, so like they know it's a lot more controlled. So people know how high they want to get, they can get that high, you know? So imagine if they did that with like a lot of other drugs. Like we can do it with alcohol, you know, it's the same with alcohol. You can go out, you can say, well, I'm going to do shots, so you know you're going to get smashed. Or you can drink beer, you know you're going to slowly get a bit drunker, you know. So you know the effects of what it is. It's the same with marijuana now. So if they could control other substances like that, imagine just how much better it could be.
Look, I mean, also with like
people will still abuse it, you know. People abuse every drug,
but everybody should have the right to do that, you know.
In a way, people should still. I think
the community around them are allowed to help and monitor
people should still
if they want. But at the end of the day, it's still their choice.
I think you should have let people abuse drugs. Let them.
Of course, but you know what? It'd be like if the community helps you. You know, you can do whatever you want because you're my friend. If I see you getting in a pickle because of drug help, I might come and talk to you about it. That's the kind of way the community needs to help individuals.
It does,
You know, fine, supervise and sort of maybe get an idea of how people are going with it, but don't in any way try and force them to do certain things.
I've seen a lot of alcoholics do some.
I think you know, I've learned a massive amount of things through myself, through abusing different drugs. I'm the person I am today through and it depends what someone calls abuse is different to what other people call abuse. But the fact is, doing things not for a recreational point, but doing things because you had to. So because you have to at the time to get through whatever period of life that you're going through. You know, my whole fucking existence is trying to figure out why the fuck people abuse money so much. That's my whole existence. It amazes me every time I fucking turn on the news or something and hear what's going on in the world. People just abusing money, like taking money off other people who really need it, and then, no, I'm going to fucking hoard it. This is mine. I'm going to fucking keep all this money so that all these other people can't have it because I want to be rich and have all these jets and houses and shit. Like, you know, like... if you're going to talk about abuse in any sense of the word, the most horrific abuse that happens in the world is through people abusing the concept of money. Like, that's abuse.
And that's because
that's an addiction as well.
It's an addiction.
That's what we're told from when we're young, but everything's about money, you know. TV
and
shows.
It's okay. And it's better to have more of it.
Ads, everything.
Yeah.
It's all about getting money when you're older. So that's,
and the more you have, the better you are as a person. And the more
controls our lives.
The more people are going to exonerate you if you've got a lot of money.
It's just the American dream, you know the American dream.
Today, this guy came into work. A side story. This old man came in to renew his permits, and for some reason he decided to talk to me. I don't know, like sometimes I think they get lonely and they just want to talk to you. And he was just talking all about how successful he thinks he is now and how he's gotten through life from, you know, going from whatever. I think he said his mum hit him or whatever. And he went to a little country school and whatever, and he's done so well for himself, and how kids these days are just irresponsible and all this. And I'm just like, and he's listing off all these qualities in his kids, like, oh, my son had 3 scholarships, Wesley, Scotch, and Geelong Grammar or whatever. And I'm just like, I would fucking kill myself to hang out with my family, man. And I'm just like sitting across from him. I'm not the best person to be speaking to about this shit. Like, and I was trying so hard to, you know, not make my job in threat by the replies I was having to him. But I was just like, you know, nice. It's a completely different generation, and they think that that's what they lived for, like success in that material way. And it's just different now. We've all realised that mightn't be the reason that we've been put on planet Earth.
No, maybe not. I don't know. But
I think that's an interesting like subject, that success thing and going to uni and how good your job is. But I think that's just how you're brought up and how, like, a lot of people are different in that aspect. Like, I hate going to school. I hate education. I never did it. So. But I don't think I would be happy doing a job that I have to get an education for.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, like, I know a lot of people who are happy doing that. So, like, I think that's just a lot
each
who
their
you are,
own.
you know?
Everyone can do whatever they want, but, like, don't talk to me as though, you know, that's the only way that measures success.
It's not. A lot of people look at me like I'm some fucking degenerate because I left school, like, in year 9, you know, I haven't done any education, you know, but, like, I think that I'm still doing a job I love, and I've done jobs that I've loved before, other jobs.
But I mean,
I'm still making money. I still can get by.
For a 21-year-old, like, I mean, you've got more knowledge in your head than fucking any other 21-year-old I've ever met. Like, and I'm talking about worldwide knowledge, which realistically is, like, you know, the what makes you an interesting person. You know, you can specify your knowledge into one particular field to make a lot of money. Sure, that's going to be good. That's good for you as a person. But to do with the amount of people that you can influence through your own understanding and your own thirst for knowledge on a worldwide perspective is going to help a lot more people than someone studying to be a fucking accountant. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? That might help you, and that might fucking...
Well, the guy I was talking to goes, I was talking about what, you know, how successful he is and how much property he owns. And I was like, oh, okay, so... And he goes, yeah, my office is down there. I was like, oh, so what do you do there? He goes, I'm an accountant. And I was like, oh, yeah. And he goes...
you need a hug?
And he goes, a chartered accountant. I'm like, oh, what's that?
What the fuck is
a chartered accountant?
Oh, I don't know.
Someone who's like going on a holiday or something. I don't know. And I was just
on
thinking,
a cruise ship. You're an accountant on a cruise ship? My God.
And I was just thinking, like, well, you're listing off all the things that you think make you successful. I'm just thinking, you want to hear what I think is successful? Like, I have amazing relationships with my friends, or like I've had experiences that, you know, have made me get to know myself. Something like, it's just such a different way of measuring success, this guy, compared to what
I feel really sorry. I feel really sorry for people like that. Well, I don't. Like, in a way, I feel sorry for myself because I haven't earned a massive amount of money yet. But I also feel sorry for them because, I mean, when you do talk about that, and all they've got to really fucking stand on their high horse with and go to town with is their job. And I'm like, fucking hell, you have actually pretty much failed at life. Like, you know, you're not a well-rounded person. You've put all your effort into this. You work too much and your kids have no time. They're probably going to end up fucking lacking in some form, like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, relationships, I really think relationships are the greatest measure of success.
Yeah.
You know, the relationships that you have, that is determined. That's a representation of who you are as a person and who you've been as a person and how much integrity you've got and how much love you've got to give and all that, you know, how fun you want to hang around. So I think
like, as I said before, it's a lot to do with how you're brought up too. Like, so if you're brought up in a shit family and they don't appreciate who you are and they don't give a fuck about where you're going to be or anything, they don't care how you do it at school, they don't care who you hang out with, you're gonna come up like, you're going to be around shit people when you're brought up and like
it's definitely
that's going to make you who you are and you're going to be a shit person, you're probably going to be a criminal or something. But if you're around someone who really like, yes, you can do it, like, well then, you know, there's a lot of hope for them, so they usually do pretty well in life.
Childhood completely defines who you are, really.
It means a lot,
Families,
I mean,
so
like,
important.
I don't know if you know like Steve Jobs' story, but like it's a pretty good story. Like,
no, I haven't. I've got his
so
book on my
like,
Kindle.
he has a pretty good story. So like he was fostered out when he was pretty young. Anyway, the family that fostered him, like whatever, they said, we'll only give him to you if you send him to college. So they saved up for years, the whole time they had him send him to college. And anyway, he went to college, he went for a year, and he's seen that he was spending all his family's money, so he's like, no, I can't do it. So he dropped out anyway, he lived and he stayed at the campus for another 2 years. Anyway, what he did was he went to all the classes he wanted to go to, and he learned all the stuff he wanted to. So instead of being made to go to these classes to get the end thing, he went to what he wanted to and he learned what he wanted to. So he learned heaps. He learned all the stuff. He went and learned like calligraphy, which is where like, Apple got the stuff like all of their writings from. Like then he went on and I think like he made like his first company and he went big and like Apple was a bit part of it. And anyway, when he went on and the guy like fucked him over that he was his partner. Anyway, he wasn't a part of Apple for like 4 or 5 years. And
Steve wasn't, the other guy was.
Steve wasn't. So Steve, he was the guy who actually made it at the start. Anyway, they sort of fucked him over. So he was back and he had literally nothing. Like he was like living off. He had no money, nothing. Like so, what he did was he said that gave him incentive to start again. So he's like, well, I've got nothing. I want to make myself big again and get back at these guys. So he started another company. I forget what it was called now. And he made it massive. Anyway, they were like really big. And then Apple, his old mate, the Apple CEO, who was then, asked him to come back to Apple, and he was back in again. So it just went from there, and he's just like he got huge from there.
Yeah,
he like smoked weed. He fucking did all of this stuff.
Did.
Like
well,
the education system has nothing to do with being successful.
There's a lot of I'll never mix up education with intelligence. You know, like. But there's a lot of fucking things on the internet that I've read about him when he took LSD. That was the most life-changing experience that he's ever had in his life. Steve Jobs, who when he took LSD, he said he saw the world in a completely different light.
I think because the company he made was Pixar.
And it
was around the time. Yeah, he did. I think he said he did LSD, and it was around the time he made Pixar. He was in that really down period, and it gave him a lot of hope again and motivation, and he said failure gives him more motivation, which was really
it's similar to like, you know, you class you know, the reason why people take substances such as MDMA is because, you know, you feel love, you feel the emotion, you know, you open up like you never have. It just completely breaks down your ego and you're able to say things that you'd never be able to say if you're sober to people that are close to you and all that sort of thing. And that's what they're trying to do. Joe Rogan had one on his podcast the other day. They're trying to do proper clinical studies to be able to pass, legally pass MDMA as a anti-anxiety drug or also anti-depression drug. They're also trialling it for soldiers with PTSD post-traumatic stress disorder.
That was also psilocybin, like
psilocybin mushrooms from coming back from overseas through the fact. And if anyone's ever taken these, they know exactly what I'm talking about. If anyone hasn't taken them, then for interest sake, they're using them for psychiatrists or psychologists, whatever, for marriage counselling and that sort of thing. Because you put two people in a room that have been butting heads for the past couple of years, they think their marriage has failed, everything's going wrong, they can't find the love that they used to find anymore. So work's got too much, everything's got too much, it's clouded their judgment on how they feel each other. You put two people like that in a room, you give them MDMA, and I can guarantee you that they will be feeling feelings for that other person that they felt when they first met them. They will be talking about things that they would never dream to think about when, like, they pretty much it's you become an open book. Everything that you have ever desired or wanted or anything
become vulnerable.
becomes, and that's communication. It brings out these channels of communication, which realistically is the only thing that really makes us, uniquely human, like communication. Brings out, interaction. It brings out these possibilities that are just absolutely not available to someone in a sober state. They are possible, but they just don't work in the same manner. They're just. I can say some deep shit to you now, but you're not in the frame of mind, and I'm not in the frame of mind to be able to, say that with intent or say that, you know what I mean? So it is a, even if you take the recreation side out of it, all these drugs that all these teenagers go out and take, I hope not too many, but all these young adults go out and take, and then like a lot of older people go, that's the scourge of society, that's what's wrong with the place, fucking drugs everywhere. Like all these drugs that these kids take when they go out, have infinite uses for the everyday average person, but because they got the stigma behind them, then, they're just... people discount them before anything, and that's probably where I see myself going with my drug use later in life, is that I won't really be taking stuff, to really experience reality in a different way, rather than just going, so I'm going to a fucking bar, I'm going to have some fucking drugs, you know what I mean? Like it used to be when I was a lot younger, but now it's sort of like I'm just... Well, I'll only do it around good people.
Ideally,
where things can be talked about, where I'm going to actually gain something from this experience, right? Just as much laughter and that sort of thing, but I'm actually going to gain some wisdom or knowledge from the experience, from this experience.
But the only reason that you say, as opposed to doing, going out to a bar, is because you've already done that. You've got
exactly.
That stuff still gives you lessons, and you still gain a lot from taking drugs out in a bar. Yeah. But it's just that's elementary stuff, and once you've done that, you've realised, you kind of like, I've gotten all I can get out of personal growth from that type of thing.
Definitely.
Ideally, I want to have my farm and my herb garden and my chickens and all that, and my San Pedro cactus growing in the back with my ayahuasca.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
I think all of that stuff is just about, it all helps you find yourself, who you are, and who you want to be. It's pretty, I think so many people, I've met people who are like in their 30s and they still don't know who they are.
So, I think that's also but I think you're dead right there. That's the initial stage.
Club, just people who work every day, they're stuck in a routine.
Yeah. Oh no, I just mean especially getting to know yourself, especially in a club environment.
In a club, it really helps.
Drugs really, obviously, they bring you out of shell, so they do give you a sense of self-confidence, which you probably wouldn't have as much of otherwise. But that enables you to really discover what you would be like if you had no fears, and then and it's like fake it till you make it type thing. You just do it, and then you realize, this is how I am. I'm actually really cool.
Yeah, but I think you're right, and that's definitely the initial stages of the drug experience. After all the fucking all the fucking dream time and novelty wears off, then it's sort of like you have a few of these, intense experiences where you've never had before, and you have to question some big questions in your brain, like, is this relationship, this 3-year relationship, where I want to be? Do I want to marry this girl? Do I want to do this? Do I fucking want to live at this place anymore? These people aren't good. And you sometimes and then those sort of hard questions that you have to come to a realization with are the things that really define you as a person and make you a strong individual personal, because all this stuff, as much as like, you know, drug taking is a very internal, self-correcting process. It's not necessarily an external thing. Everything happens internally. So you have to become in love with yourself to be able to get through these hard times with it. Even if you have a bad trip, all these people are like, oh, you have so you have a bad trip. Tell you what, after you've had a bad trip and after you've fucking tripped your nut off and you're thinking some horrific stuff and you think it's all over, the end is near and all this, you get it through that, I tell you what, you learn some serious shit about yourself then, you know, and that's why I'm like, someone goes, oh, this guy's an amazing individual and he's fucking done this and he's done that, and I was like, oh, he's like, you know, oh, he runs this massive company and he's, you know, he's such a great person, I aspire to be like him. Well, can he take like 5 trips at once? Like, can he take 5 trips at once and not end up in a closet crying? Like, you know, seriously,
like, that's a really good way to test his
way. Can he eat 20 mushrooms and not end up like crying like a bitch on the floor, you know, and still be as cool after that? I think not. Like so,
a lot of people who have a massive ego usually have the weakest mind. So like,
oh yeah,
definitely.
It's to mask their own insecurities deep down. They need to have this facade.
And like, I mean, trust me, like if anyone knew me, there are definitely some people alive today that used to know me. If anyone knew me back in the day, like before my trip to Melbourne and before all my personal journey and experiences, then, you know, I've done a complete another 360 to where I am right now, and it's been. Well, I attribute a vast amount of it to taking drugs, but like obviously, okay. There's the highs and lows to that I don't wish anyone else to go through. But like, still at the end of the day, if you get through it and you use it and you're conscious of what you're doing it for, like you're actually going, well, I know what I'm doing here, and I'm not just gonna like laze through this. I'm not gonna just take this shit and like, you know, have a good time for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? This is something that I understand what it's doing to me, and I understand, you know, what I need to get out of it or what I want to get out of it, you know?
The more extreme the experience, the more extreme the lesson, you know?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
As long as you're able to process it, like you said, self-reflect and understand how to learn from it, because some people, I think, they don't know really how, they don't have the tools to learn from lessons.
It's a lot what you want to take from it. So like, if you have an experience and it shows you heaps, like I've had a few times now, and like I could not take anything from it. I just go, fuck it, let's just had a good time, you know, or whatever. Yeah. Like, and then just keep going with what I was doing. But I like to sort of learn from my experiences anyway, like, which is what I've done with a lot of shit that's happened in my life.
Yeah.
I've done some fucking stupid things that I know I shouldn't have done, and I won't do them again, you know. So and I've done some good things which I probably should do again, you know. So like, I think,
especially people who, if you blame, you know, people who can't take accountability. That's why accountability is such an important, like, number one foundation, like, skill to have. You know, take accountability, because that's where it starts. You can't learn a lesson from anything unless you can take accountability for what happened to you in some way. Yeah. You know, a lot of people have bad things happen to them, and all they can say is, "Oh, I'm a victim." They'll never get past that ever. That will be stuck there. Their soul will be stuck at that experience until they learn from it.
That's right. Exactly. Well, I think I know I've talked about this before, but I think it's important, like, seeing that we're going this deeply into this drug thing, that I think it's important for people to understand what drugs actually do in your body and the actual reaction they have. Like, I mean, to put it as blatantly as possible, sitting here sober, stone cold sober, nothing in my system whatsoever, the only way that I witness reality is through my eyes perceiving images and a chemical, and sending a signal to my brain, and in turn a chemical reaction takes place which allows me to distinguish what I'm actually looking at the time, what I'm feeling, what I'm touching. It's all actually a chemical reaction happening in my brain. And when I go to sleep, and I dream, a little bit of DMT is released, which is dimethyltryptamine, which is the most potent psychoactive drug known to man, which is in nature and also in all animals and all humans, and it's a massive amount is released when you die. A massive amount. So when you die, you experience lights and cameras and fucking action and all this sort of shit. That's from your brain releasing a psychoactive, the most potent psychoactive known to man. And this resides in our brain. This is a chemical. This is in every single person's brain. So when I take a substance, weed, ecstasy, something like that, I put a chemical in my body which alters the chemical reactions or enhances or decreases the chemical reactions which occur in my brain.
Or just all it does is stimulate a certain chemical that's already there. Like with ecstasy,
but it takes sometimes some drugs take stuff away.
All ecstasy does is just tell the serotonin to release from the little things, you know, stuff that's already in there.
Stuff that's already in there.
Like weed does. Releases cannabinoids.
Yeah.
It's all over your body. They're in every part of your body. So
that's interesting.
Because you feel it every
everywhere.
part of your body.
Everywhere.
So the same with mushrooms. They do the same thing.
Yeah.
And
you feel it in every part of your body.
And the personality that comes out of you when you're on drugs is you. What if people think there's like an inbuilt personality in a little tablet?
But that's what I
you
said.
have, and it's like, oh my god, I'm a different person. No, that's you.
People are going, well, oh no, he was drunk, and you're like, well, no, I think that when you're drunk, you're actually the person you actually are.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I say a lot of bullshit lies when I'm drunk, so I can't say that's the truth.
No, but like that's
people say,
part of you.
It can bring out your true colours.
It comes out when you're drunk. It's not true.
Well, maybe not the truth, but the person that you have wanted to be at some points when you're sober comes out.
It does. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Sometimes you want to tell lies. Sometimes I want to be a cunt. Sometimes I don't. But because of socially acceptable things, so when I get drunk, all my inhibitions go out the window, and then I'm like, I'm just going to tell you you're a fuckwit, and that's that.
I think when you're drunk, a lot of everyone feels like they're better than everyone when you're drunk too.
Yeah, they do. Which is why it's so good for capitalism.
Same when people do cocaine, but cocaine's the same too, right?
Yeah, definitely. But I mean that's where it sort of comes down to. It's sort of like, well, I mean, if you're going to lay out all the effects and all the drugs that there are available sort of to mankind, it's sort of like and you want to go, well, let's say people are just going to do drugs. No matter what, they're going to do drugs. You can't put a law against it. You can't lock them up. You can't do anything. At the end of the day, they're just going to do drugs, and that's that. Okay, so here are all the drugs. What ones? List 3 or 4 that you think is acceptable for society to take. Well, okay, you go. Okay, so probably. Well, given the case study, alcohol should probably not be legal.
Are we talking to the government?
No, we're talking to government, police, everyone. We're making a decision on what probably
if you're going to rule us at some way, at least let's figure out the logical, answer to this question.
So people are going to take drugs. Full stop. That's the way it's going to be. Okay, so let's list 4 or 5 drugs that, you know, we're going to make legal. And then given a case study, we're going to go, probably... Let's get rid of tobacco, because that's killing heaps of motherfuckers.
No way!
No, please wait. Just wait. Tobacco kills
chemicals in there.
Tobacco. No. I'm saying tobacco in the form it's in now, in the cigarette form that you buy at Woolworths.
Yeah, you go to like South America jungle, you smoke tobacco. It's fine.
Fine. Yeah, it's fine. That's fine. Absolutely, but I'm saying let's keep it pretty, you know, basic for the people listening, rather than just going into, well, if you smoke this type.
But you're talking about what people have done to drugs, so that's the thing.
Definitely.
So what are you going to talk about meow now and go, oh, let's make that illegal because it's shit? Of course it's shit because it's trying to be like ecstasy.
Yeah.
So you're talking about let's talk about the pure drug as it should be.
I'm saying of what the particular substance has done to our society as we sit here today. Tobacco has killed heaps of people.
Yeah.
Because it's more addictive than heroin. It's the most addictive substance known to man. Known to our society at the moment. Tobacco is. Okay. So tobacco probably shouldn't be legal. Alcohol, pretty addictive. Let's be serious.
Makes people fight. Is very bad for the brain.
Yeah, very bad for the brain.
I think that should probably go.
So those two, given what we're experiencing, probably should be out the window now. I don't believe that, but anyway.
Heroin should definitely be gone.
I think alcohol is good socially.
No, of course. All drugs in moderation, fine.
All drugs in moderation, fine. I'm just saying.
If we're going to make any illegal due to extreme use and the effects of extreme use, we've got tobacco, alcohol, heroin, probably cocaine's pretty bad for your brain.
Yeah.
And then
heroin's got to go. Meth has got to go.
The thing is, the people who have meth and heroin would be fine if you just give them really good MDMA or really good methamphetamine. I'm not methamphetamine, amphetamines or different drugs that will, when purified and it's legal and you know it's all the drug scene's being cleared up. People won't want fucking heroin that kills their brain. Heroin doesn't kill your brain. Heroin.
No, heroin.
Yes,
heroin.
it absolutely
no,
does.
No. I can bring up the facts.
Yes,
now.
it does.
The facts-
Sex parts in your brain.
I've seen
heroin,
physically
definitely.
a brain of a heroin addict compared to a normal brain in like an actual brain. I've seen it in a museum.
The amount of active
It's
nerve
black and tiny.
is like less than half, like less.
The brain was half the
A meth
size and
addict
black.
There was like a
heard
thing that a
heroin
guy
was
had a CAT scan for when he was normal. 2 years later, of being a meth addict, they gave him a CAT scan, and it was like only like 1/10 of his brain was active to what it was. So it shows like they both do the same. Heroin is the same. They affect the brain.
Well,
They're
Everything
really
affects
bad
the brain.
for the.
All drugs affect the brain. Why would you take it otherwise?
Well, if we're
But I think it depends what type of
You're
what
exactly
type
right.
of what type of chemical you're putting through those passageways, and that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like when you put, like MDMA actually isn't really that bad for your brain. Pure MDMA is that's a natural
It eats a
substance.
hole in it.
Same with ayahuasca and all that. That doesn't damage your brain at all.
You do
Doesn't
feel
damage-
like MDMA, like after you've had it, because you've released so much,
Yeah, your brain's
you
tired
don't-
probably.
you feel
like,
calm.
you feel a lot shitter for a few more
Yeah.
days. You feel a lot sadder because you got.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
depleted, but I think your brain's exhausted rather than having filth through the veins in there. Whereas like heroin's just pure filth in your body. Like whereas if you have like mushrooms and all that, there's nothing bad that's
With
going
like
into
meth
your
and
body.
heroin, you have it.
Yeah.
You have
So
that
it's
good
not
feeling.
bad for your brain.
With meth and heroin, you have it now. Have that good feeling, and all they think about is as soon as they come off it, they just want it again.
Yeah.
So that's it's just like that addictiveness that hooks them.
Yeah.
It's not so much that feeling that they get when they're on it anymore. It's more that they feel like they have to have it to be who they.
Yeah, especially when you're
like,
starting from a pretty shit place in life to begin with, which a lot of
Exactly,
people are. They're generally not happy anyway, and then they realise how happy they could be when they're on it. Then they go back to being their shit self again. They're like, "Fuck that," I could just be happier.
So that's why I think
anyway.
like psychedelics is a lot better, like really good for that because they help you improve yourself.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They actually do take you to a better place, but you don't feel like you have to do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
You
I
can
agree.
feel like you've taken something good from that experience. You feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
And you know where the path of what's getting better seems a lot more clearer.
Well, it's not the sort of thing that you go, "Oh, that felt awesome." So again, like with pills, like, "Oh, I could have another one. I could feel better." But when you're on acid or mushies or whatever, you just like, "No, that was enough. And
definitely.
you don't need to do it for another few months."
But I think that's the fact where, like I know mushrooms, when you have heaps, you do experience. It does make you face your fears. It's like you also everyone will have that fear of death. And it actually makes you face that fear, like when you take a lot of psychedelics.
Really, yeah.
So
definitely.
that's why.
I still haven't had mushrooms, despite my talking about it.
If you have a lot of acid or like
I've had
DMT or
acid.
something,
DMT.
people if you eat weed, people experience that too. If you eat a lot of weed, which is like when it's just what you take from that. But too,
And as much as that might sound like a morbid thing, I don't think you've ever lived until you have to question what happens if I die.
The fear of death is what distinguishes us from animals.
Yeah.
Because we are unable to contemplate the future and go, we are going to die, and that has created this whole psyche within us that has gone, oh fuck, and all this anxiety and fear when we live because we understand that it's going to end. Animals don't have that.
Yeah,
I really think that's actually what makes
it does sound strange, but like until you've actually sat there and go, like I think that's what a lot of people that's what a lot of people are missing. The fact that their life may be in jeopardy at some point. I think the world would be a different place. A lot of people have to go through the point, on drugs or whatever that. It's sort of like, actually, I could die. Fuck.
But that's just the fact of
have I
everyone,
done everything I want to do?
It's the fact of everyone getting by, and like what we said earlier, it's the easy way. They don't have to think. If they don't think about that, well then everything's just good.
Yeah, I know it's lightning dark.
But so they just think, don't talk about death. Don't talk about death.
I fucking bought some toilet paper today.
No, I didn't buy any toilet paper, sorry, Ben. There's some tissues there.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I managed.
That's good.
I'm going to tell Jess to buy some.
That's gross. Anyway, and I was onto something now, and we just completely sidetracked. So, just send her a message. Oh.
I need her to tell. Like, she's at the supermarket now.
All right. Could you? Anyway, so we're onto something. So, okay, tobacco in its pure form, like just as sort of probably marijuana without the hydroponic, nature of it, is probably not bad for you at all.
What do you get out of it?
Hey?
Well, what do you get out of it?
You could still
Can
get
you get
slightly
some
high
higher?
from not hydroponic weed.
Yeah, awesome.
Like, you don't need,
Tobacco.
weed doesn't need to be high.
No, I'm just talking about the tobacco part of it.
No, well,
you get tobacco. Well, what do you get out of it?
You get an addiction.
No, it feels
You
good.
get addicted to it.
You get an addiction.
No, I think it's not.
I like smokes. I like smokes. I especially like smokes when I'm on drugs. But I don't smoke when I'm sober. But I do like smokes. I'm a complete advocate for
Tobacco,
smokes.
even pure tobacco, isn't amazing for you. Like, I think it's got some bad things.
Definitely,
But it's not like.
But the only
chemicals
proven
now.
things from tobacco is it improves your short-term memory, and that's it. So, what's the benefits
What do
you
you
get out
mean?
of smoking?
Oh, do you mean spiritually?
Just in
No,
general.
in general.
Everything.
You're trying to find the benefits out of what
The
you get
benefits
from
of
smoking
having
tobacco.
Doesn't
tobacco.
it feel
It's
good
a
at the
social
time?
thing.
Isn't it?
It's
Isn't
a
Yeah,
it
but
social
you feel shit after. It's the
instantaneous?
same as what I was saying with heroin. You have it, you feel good for a bit, and then all you want to do is have it again. So it just you become
It's a
reliant
social
on the
thing.
drug.
It's a
Yeah.
social thing.
I don't think so.
It is not. I'm fucking telling you.
But
it
I
is.
think
So
people
if you
like
smoke
it for the
socially, that's
time.
fair enough. You get a buzz out of it. I'm talking about people who are addicted to the drug.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, that's a good point. I'm dead with you. Okay, so now you've debunked that one. So tobacco's out. All right, tobacco's illegal.
It's not a good drug.
No, but it's good at the time. People, you don't have to be addicted to it.
No,
I'm
no,
not
no,
addicted to
please,
tobacco.
can we
not
get-
saying-
can
I'm
we
not-
live in that
Good for me.
fucking?
I'm
All
saying,
the time.
yeah, go and have a smoke for a night. Go and have smokes at the night. But I'm saying people who smoke every day, if they're heroin addicts, they've got the same mentality.
But anyone,
Yeah.
there's so many things you can be addicted to. You can be addicted to
No,
money, like
we're not
saying,
talking
and
about
that's
so many
completely
things.
different.
We're talking about drugs, all right? So, and please,
But it's just
we
an
keep
addiction.
getting-
An addiction, though. You don't
Absolutely.
have to blame the thing that they're addicted to. It's not it's the person's psyche.
That's
the
right.
reason why they're
That's
addicted.
right.
It's not
so
the drug.
we wouldn't even be fucking having this conversation at all at the moment
Like
if we weren't talking about addiction. Okay,
Yeah.
Like
Right?
tobacco
I
is
can
not
say, like-
physically addictive. You don't have withdrawal symptoms. Like you don't go into shakes and shit.
Yeah, you
like
do.
that.
Yeah, you do. I can
Yeah,
definitely say
big
you do.
time. Yeah.
I can definitely. I've seen.
Yeah.
I've seen.
Yeah, big time.
So I've
Sorry.
seen someone go through 100 times
Why do you
trying to
think?
quit and wake
Why
up.
do you think people try and quit like 100 times? Like,
Because they just want it.
no,
No.
exactly. They need
Yeah,
it.
but they want it like
They need
mentally.
it.
They don't have physical withdrawals. Like they start sweating and they shake.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
do,
do.
they do.
I've seen
Okay.
someone who
They
hasn't slept for
definitely
3
do.
days
Yeah.
because of it. They punch
Yeah.
walls.
Oh,
They
really?
they
Alright.
they have to have it.
So the body needs it.
It's like it's just
Yes.
a wall.
It's just their mind. They just can't
Anyway.
quit. They've done 100 things. They've been
Yeah.
hypnotised. they've done
Anyway,
everything.
so look, let's be serious. Tobacco's probably not the best. So tobacco's out. Okay.
But I'd probably say, like, with these addictions and drugs, I'd probably say I'm addicted to caffeine. I feel like when I wake up, I'm like, oh, fuck, I need a coffee. Like, fucking, I need a coffee or a fucking.
You need it while you can't function.
Yeah, if I can just feel like I'm not going to be myself,
I don't need coffee.
So,
Me neither at all. I never
like,
have
I feel
coffee.
like I need like a bit of caffeine, Coke or fucking something, like.
No.
But I think that's like heaps of people everywhere are like that. But I think there's people out there who do have like 10, 20 coffees a day, and when they go having a day or two without coffee,
They get headaches,
they get
don't
shakes, and they fucking
Yeah.
they start. So that's just a fact.
Yeah.
That the drug did take over their mind and
Yeah,
their body.
It's physically
So-
addictive. It's such a different thing than mentally
Caffeine's
addictive.
an awful drug. Like I don't.
It is, but I feel like I get a bit out of caffeine too. Like I get a bit of energy,
Ah.
a little bit of energy hit,
I get more out of having a Coke.
Yeah, you do, but that's caffeine.
Yeah, I understand it's caffeine, but like
Sugar too.
coffee to like the.
Oh,
like,
coffee,
so
yeah,
the-
I know, yeah.
Coffee, like I don't really get that fucking.
Coffee has antioxidants in it too, so it's
Yeah.
a little bit good for you as well.
Yeah. So but anyway, all right. So is caffeine out? Caffeine's in. We're gonna keep caffeine.
Keep caffeine, yeah.
Keep
It's not,
caffeine.
it's not,
Keep
it's not very
caffeine.
dangerous.
Okay, so keep caffeine. So cigarettes are out. Are we going to keep alcohol?
No, definitely not.
What would-
It's too bad for you.
No. I don't think it is, because if you consider a wine drinker to a binge drinker, there's a bit of a difference there. Like, I mean, I think alcohol during a meal or during, like, I mean,
Okay.
some of the best times you can have. It was like I'm having a beer at the
I
moment.
know that, Sean, but
So-
we're talking about here about when it's abused. If we're going to make something legal, we have to think about the worst case scenario. If it's being abused, what are the effects?
Yeah.
So caffeine that's being abused, fuck it, who cares?
Yeah.
You know?
It's not really affecting people's
Tobacco,
lives.
it's abused, it kills people.
But is alcohol? Well, tobacco is a different story. But
Alcohol's
is
abused, it
alcohol
kills
only getting
people.
abused because every other fucking thing's illegal?
But that,
Is that the
that's-
reason
yeah,
why?
but that's the same with
It's a part
heroin
of
and
it,
stuff.
yeah.
I think that's the same with
Yeah.
heroin. So, but we're talking about
People
the
even
actual
drink that much?
substance itself.
Would people even drink that much if there was a lot more options?
If there was
on the table?
MDMA and people
Oh,
knew it was
definitely
healthy for you, I think people would probably drink a little bit less and have a bit more MDMA. I think.
Yeah, so there would be
Yeah.
less violence then. There would be significantly less violence if people were taking more MDMA and less alcohol.
Yeah, definitely. No,
Okay.
like I said,
I
when,
don't know. I like to look at like LA and like things like this. Like LA, they got the law where all of their clubs have to close at 2 a.m. in the morning. So
really,
so that's their law, LA. So every club straight away shut. It's illegal to have a club or anywhere you can buy alcohol from open past 2 a.m.
why?
So that's just their law. It's been like that for a few years now.
Yeah,
so
but why is the law there? That's
I
a question.
because there was a lot of shit going down, after.
Is it like the curfew in
Definitely.
Brisbane?
It's like
Same as Brisbane. Same as they tried to do in Melbourne. They tried to do it 2 a.m. here.
Yeah, they tried to do it to Melbourne. It didn't really work out, Well, they trialed it.
Yeah.
They tried it. So I think but that it stopped a lot of violence through the night because they had people with
People
so much
trying to go home.
so much violence. People when they're going home and stuff. They still do have violence, but there's less people out as late. So they know when people are going home, so they can have more cops on the streets in that time, rather than people just going home at spread out times, which is like what happens.
Well, in the UK, in the UK, instead of putting 2 a.m. licence in every person that had a liquor licence, they gave them a 24-hour licence, so there was no close time. You didn't have to close. So then people were just going home as they wanted to go home. So I mean, and that has proven to work. That has definitely proven to work. So, I mean...
Well, what frustrates me is this whole conversation for me is pretty much void anyway, because I don't believe there should be any laws about any of that at all.
What time places close.
Well, yeah.
But that's just keeping control of alcohol,
It is.
So
But
you can't serve alcohol at that time, so people can't keep drinking, So
But I'm talking about a place where people are actually free to discover themselves and learn lessons on their own without having the law to tell them how to learn lessons and how to live their life. And that's going to create a completely different environment, particularly when, just for one case and example is the drug thing. When you have everything legal, it's all going to be pure and people are going to be able to make decisions on their own behalf about what's good for them, what they like and all that. That's a completely different environment to make laws about what time bars should shut. It's just like a whole different ball game when you talk about true freedom and no ruling fucking group of people sitting in an office telling people how they should live their life. People will be completely different.
Yeah.
Everything, the whole ball game will
Well, then
change.
this is where I would say just make all psychedelics legal and make every other drug illegal.
But that would be the worst possible thing for...
Well-
marijuana, mushrooms, DMT.
Yeah.
I think they need to start.
I can't see many people abusing that.
Please just start with making all plants legal. That's fucking outrageous that any plant can be illegal. That's what I don't care about. Fine, make anything else legal. I don't care. Just make the plants legal, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, anything that
That's
grows,
ridiculous.
anything that grows out of the ground probably shouldn't have a law against it.
How dare they tell me what I'm allowed to do with Mother Earth? And I'm a creature of the earth.
Yeah. Like there is some serious flaws in any sort of logic if you are any sort of human being when it comes to the fact that that if there's something that grows out of the ground, you go, well, you can't touch that. And you're like, well, I was sort of born here. I'm sort of part of the environment.
Yeah,
Why can't I touch that? Hold on. But that's what does my head in. It's sort of like, hold on. I go to work. I work hard. I pay my taxes. I fucking, I pay my carriage. I drive at the speed limit. I fucking do everything that I need to do. And then I come home within the house I paid for. I pay my mortgage. My kids are asleep. All that. And you're telling me that this thing that grows out of soil, I can't roll in a bit of paper and smoke it? What the fuck? Like, in my own living room when no one else is around and I put some music on and relax and enjoy myself, you're telling me that I can't do that. It's illegal. Like, it is illegal against society, against my own good will. That something grows out of the ground.
And you could be locked in jail for that shit.
The funny thing about it is people who makes these laws...
Exactly. The Earth, they are there for a reason.
We have trees
This
to help
is
us
an
breathe.
ecosystem.
And make air so we can breathe,
There is a
we have all
purpose.
plants for a purpose.
There is a reason why that plant is here for us. Like, it's just ridiculous.
And there's a reason why in India cows are sacred. And that's because mushrooms grow out of their shit.
Cow shit.
And like, if you're thinking that in India, there's class cows sacred, they don't need to eat them at all. They don't have any food problems in India whatsoever. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're not allowed to eat cows in India. Right? Yeah, because they're a sacred animal.
I know, yeah.
they fucking need to eat that cow. Like, the more important than the mushroom growing out of their shit, they need the meat from that cow. Like, obviously, you know, that cow is significant to them in some way, and it's because a magical thing that they eat grows out of their shit and transports them to another dimension, and it connects them to the consciousness of the whole world, and all the answers that they've ever needed to find is going to be there. You know?
Yeah.
From a cow. And it's
Do you reckon that's why the cows are sacred?
No, it is. It actually is.
Really?
Yeah, it's why the cows are sacred.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's why cows are sacred in Hinduism. Yeah.
Like, I knew they were sacred, but I didn't know that was why.
Yeah, that's why they're sacred.
That's awesome.
Yep.
But they say they're the most peaceful people too, you know.
Yeah, fucking oath they
mentally
are.
happiest, yeah.
And they're illegal. That's it's like a government. Are they legal in India? Mushroom? They mustn't be.
Oh, no, they're not. I think it's more at the stage now. It's more like Chinese whispers just down the line. Sort of
it's like
thing.
Western society going,
Yeah.
fuck your religion. It's so stupid. You know, you're worshipping something that is so bad for you that it's illegal in our society. I can't let you worship that. Like, that's such an insult to another country's way
definitely.
of life.
But they're like Hinduism, when they believe in life after death and that they reincarnation and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's all stuff that you think about when you are on mushrooms. Like,
That's their religion.
So like, which makes it really interesting. Their religion. Some things are a bit silly, but
I'm a complete no advocate for anyone who hasn't. Like, I don't like to push or tell anyone to do anything, but if you haven't done, you know, this amazing fungus that transports you and makes you feel like, you know, things that you've never felt before, I think you need to get some of them and, like, be sensible about it. Get it to eat like one or two. Just make sure it doesn't affect you too extremely. And then work your way up to 20 or 30, whatever, you know. Just, you know, in about 12 hours you might be able to, you know, get to a pretty extreme amount. But, you know, it honestly, really transforms the way that you think about the world and the people around you, and only for the benefit. Maybe you might not like what it's telling you, but that's probably for your own good, and you need to change.
It's what you take from the experience, pretty much.
Yeah, definitely. So what, is this it, Tess? You just walk away?
Yeah, I get bored after a while.
Game over?
Yeah, I feel like doing some washing, folding the washing.
Yeah, right. So are you going to stop this podcast now because you decided to walk away? Is that it? Maybe we didn't want to
No,
stop?
I can sit down for a bit longer.
Yeah.
I just felt
did, but maybe you should have asked us before you fucking got up.
That wet towel, I just felt like hanging it up. It was pissing me off.
Alright, well now go and sit back down again.
Okay.
It was very rude of you. We have a guest here. And you're just fucking walking away from the conversation.
It's just like housework.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
well, that's good. You'll have plenty of time to do it in the rest of your life because there's a lot of lazy guys out there. Right? So...
Okay, I'm sorry.
Alright.
There you go.
That's good.
Okay. I'm sorry. So, anyway, Sean, what do you want to talk about, hey?
I want to talk about
Mushrooms.
you and all your problems.
Okay. What's my problem?
First thing you heard, what are you going to do about that face?
Do you think it's the nose more?
It's a whole fucking...
Not really bad.
Whole fucking package. You're a fucking idiot.
Jesus.
That's awful.
That's true.
So, anyway...
Anyway, do we want to bring up some facts about drugs? Because, like, we brought
Well,
them up and
Australia is the highest per capita drug taker.
Especially with weed. Per capita, Australia smokes more weed than any other country in the world.
The drug industry is worth $300 billion.
Yeah.
In Australia?
In the world.
On the what, $300 billion.
$100 billion.
There are more... How many percentage... In America, I think the percentage of people in jail from drug-related offences is like...
I
Shit, can you find...
90% weed, I think.
Is it?
Something like that, yeah.
It's like 90% weed of the drug-related ones.
Yeah, of the drug,
okay, but
yeah.
of total, I think it's like...
massive, yeah.
For non-violent crimes, people are in jail, it's like 70% or something.
Yeah.
There's 2 million people in jail in America. 2 million. Imagine, that's like a tenth of our population. That amount of people. There's more people in jail in America than the whole world combined. I thought like that. It's ridiculous.
Crazy.
I don't know where these facts come from, but this is really interesting. It just says crime statistics, nationmaster.com. it looks pretty legit. This is every country and their main cause of problems relating to drugs. It says here under Australia, Tasmania is one of the world's major suppliers of illicit opiate products. Government maintains strict controls over areas of opium poppy cultivation and output of poppy straw concentrate. Major consumer of cocaine and amphetamines, well, the whole country is. But Tasmania is one of the world's largest suppliers of poppies for heroin.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
But they say that the government looks after it pretty
Of
strictly.
course they do. Like, it is such a joke for people to even think that the government, they're not going to make money out of that shit. Of course they are.
Yeah.
And people think that they're actually trying to help us with this drug war.
Yeah.
They are the ones, they control everything.
So the country in the world that has the biggest drug abuse problem is Iran, actually. 9,500,000 people
Addicted to heroin.
addicted to heroin.
To heroin? That's a lot.
14.32% of the population is
Oh my
addicted to heroin.
god, that's fucked.
Because it's in the middle of Afghanistan and fucking...
Yeah.
It just all has to go straight through there. It comes straight from Afghanistan.
Far out.
That's fucking probably another reason why they fucking went into fucking Afghanistan.
What, for the
To
poppy?
bring down Iran? No, well, fucking...
We know that they're there to guard the poppy fields.
No,
definitely.
but
What do you mean?
to addict a lot of the population in Iran.
Yeah.
Because we all know that America has a fairly strict record of being
cunts?
of introducing opiates to societies which they want to take over. They did it before the First World War in China.
They did that to China.
They fucking gave them
Blatantly
opium.
did that. I learned that in school. That's one thing I actually learned in school that was true.
There was like there was like tens of millions of people that were in China. Like I'm thinking even like I don't know. I could look it up. How many people in China? This is why we've got Google.
330 million. No,
how many?
It's 1 billion people in China, isn't there?
Billion, yes.
Yeah. Doesn't New Zealand have a meth problem?
New
I
Zealand?
think they do have a massive meth problem.
Yeah.
And don't we have a GHB problem now?
Yeah, Australia does. Melbourne
Has a G problem, so
Yeah.
we shuffle too much. Guess.
Opium in China.
Yeah, there's people at our house the other day were telling us about these people that they met somewhere. I can't remember where.
Yeah, during that time that America introduced opium, there were 70 million people addicted to opium.
Oh my god.
Smoking opium. 70 million people.
Oh my god.
And then the Mao, he fucking wiped it out.
Yeah.
It was like catch up. By
killing them all, probably.
Yeah, he probably killed them all. Yeah. But 70 million people. Yeah, so United Kingdom has 81.3 million people addicted to alcoholics.
Where?
United Kingdom, UK.
How many?
81.3 million.
What?
Yep.
That's outrageous.
13, UK, so in Scotland, England, Ireland, fucking...
Mind you, when we're talking about addictions, let's keep in mind that, yes, the substance does make,
France.
it's susceptible. But wait! But we're talking about people with psychological problems. Like, that's why they're people who are sick and sad and depressed and their brains are just a mess and tangle of bullshit that they've grown up with and conditioned into.
Yeah.
So that's why the amount of people who are fucked on drugs is the amount of people who are fucked in their head anyway.
Gets
You
better.
know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah.
France,
So it's like an indication of just the sickness of society.
France has 85 million people addicted to prescription pills. Russia has 100 million people alcoholics.
But that's only 7.1% per capita. So
Still,
so it's more. That's more.
so many people. I'm more about the amount of
There's
people.
100 million people. That
Yeah.
are
Does still, but if you look at
But
the
you look
United
per
States
capita
on
is only
prescription
useful
pills,
when you're
look at
talking
the
about-
United States on prescription pills, 192 million people.
That's so many.
are addicted to prescription pills. Yeah, 192 million motherfuckers.
And I think it's like 80% of that is Oxycontin. So.
Oh,
Oxy.
really?
And Brazil's just straight Oxy. They don't even have prescription pills
Brazil's is
listed.
Oxy, yeah, there you go.
Brazil just says
Oxycontin.
OXI, Oxy.
Oxycontin,
Oh
yeah.
my god.
And then Mexico, meth. I thought it would be cocaine.
Hey, Jess.
Do you know that Spain is the highest, has the highest use of cocaine per capita?
Oh, really?
Yeah, Spain.
Wow.
We're coming, baby!
I've been to Colombia. I'm not interested.
How you going, Jess?
Did you get toilet paper?
Yeah, I did.
Yay.
They didn't have any like,
Recycled?
recycled.
What do you
What?
mean?
So I went and found
Which one did you go to?
Safeway. Well, I don't know. Maybe
Recycled.
they normally have the one in the brown paper, but this one I got one that had like a, you know.
Yeah. From a
rainforest
forest
or
that's
whatever.
not that important. Yeah. Yeah.
They plant some of the trees back, even though we could.
I can't believe that people think they need to wipe their ass with pure forestry. How dare you? What are you, too good for recycled toilet paper? What
I don't
the
understand
fuck?
that.
How could anybody go to the supermarket and see recycled or non-recycled and choose the non-recycled because they think they need that? And same with cleaning products.
Brand, I think, by a lot of people.
It is
All
brand,
cleaning products should be all earth friendly. All of them. Why would you make any that aren't?
I would never.
Here we go. How are you going to back this up? Go. Do it. No, really. I'd love to hear it.
Don't shoot her down before she fucking
I'm sorry.
says anything. Like,
No, I really do want to hear this.
The cleaning, like the toilet paper, I think is stupid. Cleaning products, I'm not saying it's right, but there is a difference between. ones that
definitely.
use that's what I mean.
Yeah. Definitely.
With the toilet paper, I'm like, that difference.
Sometimes
Not saying
at
it
work,
justifies it.
we fucking, because all of Etihad, all of the stadium
It actually is a
uses,
different product.
all the stadium
Yeah, I
uses
know,
EcoLab, which is environmentally friendly, the whole stadium. But then sometimes we've got this hydrochlorinated fucking acid that we need to fucking put on.
Yeah,
the
no,
floors
I
and shit.
understand
Like,
that there
you know
are
what I
some
mean?
chemicals that are going to be. But we're talking about just fucking detergent and like washing powder and spray.
yeah.
Like when people don't need hardcore industrial chemicals,
No.
I'm pretty sure that it's fine.
Solves all problems.
Oh, it does, yes.
Eucalyptus
Eucalyptus
oil
oil
is the
cleans
fucking-
everything.
It does everything.
It's the best.
It removes it's everything. Nail polish remover.
Yeah.
Found it like a
freshener.
few years ago, and I was like, "This
Yeah.
is the best." You
That's why it is.
can't smell it for a while, but
What
you
is
can
it?
buy off it.
Yeah.
Eucalyptus oil. It's the best to clean anything. You clean just a table or something, it's like perfectly clean, better than any chemical.
Well, there you
Gets
go.
off sticky,
Exactly.
gets off stickers, gets off anything. Yeah.
Fake tattoos.
No.
I found out. Works.
Well, alright, sweet. But now, seeing that G so prevalent, a lot of those cleaning products, we couldn't have eco-friendly stuff because if we're going to have G, then we definitely need floor cleaner. There's no way we can have G with eco-friendly
Can't have
shit.
J with
No.
that stuff,
We've got to keep it real in that aspect. That's probably why it's doing so well at the moment.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
We're talking about porn.
Don't say anything about personal stuff because you're recording.
Oh, is it still on?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry, no one listens to this shit anyway. So look, at the end of the day, I think, okay, so if you want to vote for the Connect to be in control of your society, in the next election, we
No.
might go in. The
Don't
Connect-
even utter those
No, no, no,
words. That's
no.
the most awful
No,
thing ever.
'cause literally-
I have no desire to control your life, everyone. None.
Literally,
I don't give a fuck
what
about
we're
your
going
life.
to do is we're just going to get rid of all the laws, and then we're going to let you guys have a good time.
Great.
That's it.
Not let you guys have a good time.
Make him.
We're going to have a good time. And if you want
I'm making drugs legal.
Okay.
Alright.
Can we go now?
Yeah, we can go. What are we doing? Are we
Go and
having
get
pho?
pho?
We're going to have pho.
Yeah, in the
Oh,
city,
we're going
in
to
Russell Street.
Yeah, it better be fucking good.
Oh, I didn't
I'm
say
going to a new
that.
one.
Are you coming?
Oh, I just didn't want fofo. I just wanted meat and veg.
We're going to a new pho.
Yeah, if you're going to that. Oh, sorry, I already.
You can come. You can have it on
What do
Wednesday
you
or
mean?
tomorrow.
Isn't fo good enough?
You can have that tomorrow.
I don't know. It's pretty good. I've got a piece of salmon and some broccoli.
Well, it's up to new pho or salmon
Where are you going?
on Russell
We're going to
Street.
Russell Street.
Is it? Do you reckon it has other stuff apart from pho, or is it like a fofo place?
I have no idea, actually.
I reckon it's got some of this.
Although I'm sure they'd have at least spring rolls.
Yeah,
If
well,
our fofo has... Is it still recording?
Yeah.
If our fofo has,
Oh, no,
spring
I was
rolls
going to
in
get
it-
like something complete. I didn't.
Has
I don't
anyone
want
had pho before?
Oh, okay, well then don't come.
Anyone listening? Have you had pho?
No, I haven't. No.
What the fuck? How did you even get let in here? Like, pho is fucking awesome. It's pretty basic. It's just broth and fucking noodles.
Apparently it's a really shit place. Like, my boss was telling me about it. She's like, it's really dingy. They just make really good pho.
That's
So
why
if you're expecting
fucking
something
do it.
else that's good, I
Oh
don't
no,
know.
I
about
It's
just
a
want- I was
Vietnamese
gonna
noodle
like chicken
soup.
and
Oh, okay.
salad.
So it's like
I've heard of
beef,
it before.
and it
Maybe
comes
go
out
like a
boiling, and the
shitty
beef
Vietnamese
meat's
place.
not
It's gonna
cooked,
be
and then you
crappy, yeah.
turn it all up, and it's fucking like It's just the broth is fucking delicious.
I think I've seen it before.
Yeah.
I might have
It's
had it.
Really
It's like Thai basil and beef and a few fucking sweet spring onion and
Thai basil and beef.
it's delicious.
There's
And egg and rice noodles.
God.
I fucking that's all that's in it. What else is in it?
I don't know. Chicken stuff.
Just eat it.
Huh?
I think we should stop recording.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning into the Connect.
Bye.
I'm gonna get some pho.
And drugs.